From Oakland to San Francisco to New York City, you have Asian communities policing themselves now. You have volunteer groups who get together to walk around to make sure that our elderly, women and children do not get assaulted.
Yeah. Politicians will always promise everything. They can't deliver. The police, they'll talk about all that they're going to do, but now that their budget has been cut, they can barely do the minimum. You got to police yourselves.
Why you can't even get to the point where you can label this and call it what it is, a hate crime? Why can't you even get the police to have a proper group with the proper resources to appropriately address the crimes?
Do you think it just goes away? It festers, it grows. And now we see an explosion of these crimes against Asians. And all I see the politicians doing is having press conferences. Oh, what an outrage. Okay, what are you doing about it?
Yep.
Nothing. Oh, what an outrage. What are you doing about it?
Nothing.
Lucky Boys Podcast.
The underpinning of all this, like just having businesses reopen, is safety, right? And people have to feel safe to go to work and to open up their businesses and patron these businesses. And the huge thing about right now is crime in minority communities, specifically Asian communities. Like we saw in Flushing, elderly lady was pushed to the ground, and that person, that perp, was captured, but he was released like within 24 hours.
Oh yeah, and this should have been dealt with when the Guardian Angels began patrolling the Asian communities. We started back a year ago after the lunar parade up Mott Street.
So February of 2020.
And people were beginning to see the images from Wuhan. And some people who were emotionally disturbed, young thugs, people who have been drinking heavily, started translating that into, Chinese, quote, Asian people carry coronavirus. And we saw them being verbally assaulted. We saw that there were attempted physical attacks, which we stopped. So we started patrolling Chinatown, and then Flushing, and then 8th Avenue in Brooklyn, Sunset Park, which is actually, most people don't know it, the largest Chinese American community in the 5 boroughs. And all other Asians who are also being under the radar microscope of these attacks. And the city did nothing. The police did nothing at that time. So when you do nothing, do you think it just goes away? It festers, it grows. And now we see an explosion of these crimes against Asians. And all I see the politicians doing is having press conferences. Oh, what an outrage. Okay, what are you doing about it?
Yep.
Nothing. Oh, what an outrage. What are you doing about it?
Nothing.
Other than having press conferences.
Let's have a rally.
Just lip service.
And then after that, what happened after the rally? Oh, they took a lot of photos, a lot of snapshots and recordings of them going around the internet, Instagram, Facebook, wherever, of them saying something. But what has actually changed? Do we feel any safer? Do I feel that my parents are any safer when they're out and about? My friends, my family? No. And I don't think any of us do in the community. So I'm getting tired of just watching these people just root us on, make us feel like we actually accomplished something, because nothing has been done yet.
Well, notice the one message they don't have that the Guardian Angels have is we say fight back. We say do not fold like a cheap camera. Do not allow yourself to be a victim. Now, obviously, many of these victims were incapable of fighting back. But I've seen images where the Asian person was getting pounced on and people were walking right by.
Yeah.
Like they got window shades on their eyes. They got cotton balls in their ears, a zipper on their mouth. They're doing nothing. And then you say, what happened? I thought we have the photos. Look, you can see the guys. They're running away. Oh, but you can't use facial recognition technology. Why not? Oh, because that's racist. What are you talking about? That will actually zone in and you'll get the right person, not maybe someone else who had a mask on, looks the same, and then unfortunately that guy gets jammed up for a crime they didn't commit. So all these negative portrayals of law enforcement and the criminal justice system are hurting victims. And now that Asians are being targeted at a regular, are you going to wait for everyone else? Look how many Asians are in the Guardian Angels now. Why did they join the Guardian Angels? Because it was a way to fight back, a way to protect their community. So if you're just going to go along with these sing-song politicians, next week it'll be another press conference they have the following week and no follow-up.
What's going on, Curtis? I don't get it. Like, this is something that's a no-brainer for me. It's a no-brainer. It's their city. It's their people. We're part of the community. However you want to spin it, we're Americans, as American as they are. And some of us have been here for several generations. I mean, and they're being targeted. I just don't understand why you can't even get to the point where you can label this and call it what it is, a hate crime. Why can't you even get the police to have a proper group with the proper resources to appropriately address the crimes? Where the Asian Hate Task Force that they said they built, I mean, we had Sergeant Steve Lee here, and I mean, he told us that it's just, smoke and mirrors. It's a volunteer group, and they can't really do much.
Let's cut to the chase. Yeah, I always cut to the chase.
Let's do it.
This is what happened to Jews over the years. Jews have been subject to anti-Semitic attacks. Why? Because they're doing well educationally, in business. They're living the American dream. Others, they look at that like somehow they've cheated their way to the top. Like somehow they took from me in order to succeed. This is where the Asian community is now. They're doing so well in business, academically, in schools. People here, they're in advanced classes. There's a growing number of them in the public school system. There's a huge, if not for all the Asians entering the public school system, what the average scores would be. So we have so much to be grateful for. But some people have jealousy in their heart. They don't want people to succeed, because then all of a sudden they think that they're somehow cheating the system. And they're not. They're playing by the rules. And now all of a sudden we're venting at them for doing well by attacking them, verbally abusing them. And this way, that's why when you have a no bail law, no bail. So the Asian community sees someone who committed this horrific act, and the next day they're walking out in the streets. So that's why I always say, look, politicians will always promise everything. They can't deliver. The police, they'll talk about all that they're going to do, but now that their budget has been cut, they can barely do the minimum. You got to police yourselves. Whether it's forming guardian angel groups or forming your own patrols, you got to look after your own neighborhoods, your own communities, because if you don't do it, nobody else is. Unfortunately, they'll show up at a protest and a rally, and they'll say fight back, but they go home and they're living in their own little cones, their own cones of silence.
From Oakland to San Francisco to New York City, you have Asian communities policing themselves now. You have volunteer groups who get together to walk around to make sure that our elderly women and children do not get assaulted.
You have to do that. Look, the Jewish community has done that. They have their own patrols.
So what are we paying taxes for?
Well, you see, you can make that argument, but now they've defunded the police.